Hey, Ann. Happy Tuesday. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. This is Barb Reed, the Wexford Stamper, and I've got a great project for us tonight, another 3D project. I have made the triangle treat box in the past, but it was usually sized for like one of these little candies in here, the Lindor truffles. So that shows you kind of how small the triangle box was, but we're gonna make a large triangle box this evening. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? Hey, Cheryl, I have your to-go kit. If you are interested, let me know how you want me to get it to you. All right, so let's talk a little bit before we get started about some of the materials and products that I am using this evening to make this cute little box. Now, I have included a magnetic closure, and the sides of our box have nice clean score lines and creases. And look at the size of that in there. I have 5 Lindor truffles in there, and this could hold probably at least 5 more. So this is nice size box. And in fact, you need 2 pieces of cardstock to make this size box. But I love it. It's fun. It's a little bit of a unique design for a box, and it's pretty easy to make. I'm going to go through the directions, and I think you will agree. So when you come on here, let me know who's here, and we'll get ready to get started. All right, as you know, you can always go to my blog at the conclusion of this Facebook Live, and that is www.thewexfordstamper.blogspot.com, and you can pick up a downloadable PDF right there from that blog post. And this is what it looks like when you print it off. I try to include a picture of the template at the bottom, and I try to make sure that my instructions are nice and clear so you can all follow along. All right, so don't forget to download one of those. At the end of this Facebook Live, I will be posting my blog post by 8 o'clock at the latest. All right, let's talk a little bit about what I'm using here. Now, I'm using products from the hand-penned suite. Now, this is a suite that is in the old annual catalog, which will be, all these materials will be retired by the end of April. So I just recently looked on, and these 2 are still available. Okay, I used some of the stamps for the little embellishment on the front of the box. I did not use the dies for this project, but they're amazing. They're really beautiful. If you like flowers that look really beautifully watercolored, this is a great set. Now, I did look, and the paper, unfortunately, since the time that I designed this project, is not available anymore. But you can always just put in any paper that you want, because I like my projects to be flexible. You can use them with any set of stamps, any set of paper. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'll bring this in one more time. You can see that I use the paper here on the front side, and I'm looking right now, I forgot to put my backside piece of paper on here. I have it, but I forgot to put it on my sample, so you'll see it on the new one. And then here is where I used the stamp set here. So this is a gift for someone who might be under the weather. Hey, what chocolate helps everything, right? And I used a little bit of the basic white baker's twine, as well as some of the cute little rhinestones. So really fun, really simple. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, what we're going to start with, and this will all be written on your download as well as on the blog post. Okay, we need a lot of cardstock to make this okay, it goes like this. We need a lot of cardstock to make this card box. okay, since the size of it. So you're gonna need 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11. The first one is gonna be cut at 10 by 8.5. Okay, 10 by 8.5. And then your second one is going to be cut at 8 by 8.5. Okay, hey Jean, oh thank you, you're so sweet. All right, so these are the 2 pieces that we're going to need to make our box. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my scoring board and we're going to go ahead and do some scoring. Let's start with the larger piece. This is the 8.5 by 10. Okay, and the scoring lines are very easy. It's the same for both. Oops, let me come down here a little bit. Okay, you're going to score at 4 and 8. Then you are going to rotate clockwise your paper, and you're going to score again at 4 and 8. Okay, 4 and 8, rotate clockwise, 4 and 8. Okay, now let's go ahead and do our next piece. This is the shorter piece. Okay, this is 8.5 by 8. Okay, I'm going to start with the 8.5 side. What are we going to score at? 4 and 8. Rotate clockwise. 4. Now we can't score at 8 because that's the end of our paper. All right, so 4 and 8, 4 and 8. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to put the scoring board away for a moment. And now we're going to go ahead and fold up our pieces here. All right, I'm going to grab my scoring tool, not my scoring tool, my bone folder. And I'm just going to fold up on all these lines. Now you notice with my first sample, I used the pool party. Okay, now I'm going to use the same paper, but this time I'm going to pull out the So Saffron yellow here and make the same box. Hey Deb, I was telling Cheryl I have your kits ready, so let me know how you want me to get them to you. All right, so there I got all those folded and creased. Let's do these. Hope everyone's having a nice day. A little chilly today, but I'm going to take it after some of the other ugly April weather we've had. Okay, now what we're going to do next is we're going to do some cutting. All right, so we're going to put our paper this way. Okay, we want to make sure that the thin scoring edge there, that 1/2 inch panel there, is at the right on both of these pieces. Okay, and then the panel that has that extra piece up here at the top, we want it to be at the top, orient it to the top. Okay, so thin lines here, piece with extra at the top. Let me slide it down. Got paper so big tonight, doesn't even fit. All right, let's pick up our larger sheet now. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the bottom portion of that thin rectangle along the right-hand edge. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut off the top portion of that. We do that with practically every box we make. Okay, and I wedged it a bit so that we don't have any overlap when we put it together. Oh dear, let me go ahead and cut this again. That's a little crookedy. There we go, that's better. Okay, now these large squares along the bottom, these are 4 by 4. These actually are the panels that make the bottom of the box. See our 4 by 4 square there on the bottom? Hey Rise, nice to see you again. And we're going to make these into our bottom panels. So all we're going to do is cut up up the vertical score line to the first horizontal. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do that over here too. So what I'm going to need to do, I'm going to cut up here and get rid of that piece, just like we did over here. Okay, and then remembering these are the two panels that make the bottom. I'm going to cut up the vertical score line to the first horizontal score line. All right, so these are going to be the panels that fold together at the bottom to make the bottom of the box. That's why they're called bottom. All right, now up here, we have to create the flap. Okay, the flap that comes over the front of the box. Now here we have two, and we don't need these two because we only need one for the flap. So we're gonna cut off the top panel that's farther away from our little right-hand thin side panel there. So we're just going to cut this one completely off. Okay. And believe it or not, that's all the cutting that we need to do. Okay. One last thing we need to do before we start putting it together is we need to create the pleats for the box to come together. If you don't make nice pleats and kind of tell the box how you want it to fold, those side folds can get all crunched up and get all your paper all wrinkled, and we just don't like that kind of thing. Wrinkly paper is just not good. So what you have to do is take a ruler. Okay, so on the middle squares, we have 4 of those here. Okay, on the 2 that do not have the little tabs on them, that's this one and this one, we have to create the pleats. Now, this square is 4 inches wide. So I'm going to take my ruler, and right at the 2-inch mark, I'm just going to put a little bit of a mark with my scoring tool. Then I'm going to take my ruler and go from that mark down to the corner of that same 4x4 square. And I'm going to draw a score line. Let me see if I can hold it up that you can see that. You guys see my score line there? Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Go from that 2-inch tick mark down to that corner. Okay, so I've kind of created a triangle, and that's what I want. And then I'm going to kind of fold up on those 2 score lines. All right, so I'm kind of telling my paper what I want it to do. Okay, now let's do the same thing with the second one. Remember, we're going to do it to the upper square that is not attached to the tab. So that's this one. First thing we need to do is measure across the top to the center point, which is 2. Okay, I put my little score mark there, and now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with my ruler and make a score line from the bottom corners to that top center part. Okay, let me put that away. Everybody see that? See if they can look. There, you can kind of see it. Then you can just go ahead and gently fold those up towards yourself. Okay? So here are our 2 pieces that we have so far. All right, so now, you know how I love to kind of pretty up my flap. So I'm going to take my trio punch, which incidentally is retiring by the end of this month. So if you don't have one of these, get it. It's my favorite way to make rounded corners, very easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and round my flap just because it looks a little prettier. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start assembling. Now, typically, I would start putting my designer series paper on as well, but I'm not going to do it this time because we are putting magnets on this box, and it needs to be constructed before we can kind of figure out where the magnets need to go. So if you're not using a magnet and you're just going to tie the box together with ribbon, you could go ahead and put your designer series paper on now. But I'm going to wait, and I am going to go ahead and start constructing my box. All right, so the piece on the left side, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of Tombow on that skinny panel, and then I'm just going to line it up. You want to make sure that your score lines are all in the right spot. I even kind of pick it up and squeeze it a little bit. Make sure it knows where I want it to go. And now we have it attached all into one piece out of the screen. There we go. All right, now we're going to go ahead and turn it this way. And we're going to go ahead and now put some Tombow on the other thin tab. Okay, it's already your favorite. You're so nice, Jean. And then I'm going to close this down. Okay, so now our box is all together. Okay, so I can kind of pop it up. Okay, you see how that's coming together there? Let me make sure I have enough glue over here. I saw him peeking out up there. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now let's flip him over. Before you close the pouch, you want to make the box, you want to make sure that you create the bottom, or it's not going to really hold up. It's not going to hold its structure. So what you want to do is you want to fold in the side panels first. And these are nice big panels that are going to really hold the box together. Then you want to, let's see, this is going to be the front of the box because our tab is coming from the back, not our tab, our flap. So this is going to be the front flap. So that one goes down last. Okay, so I'm going to fold the back flap. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a good bit of glue over that section and then close down the final flap. Let's turn it over. And I'm going to get my hand in there. I think it looks pretty good. Now, you can see where our pleats are right here. Now watch how easy this works. They just fold together and then you fold the flap over the top, just like that. See how perfect that looks? Very, very easy to do. Okay, so you just fold it in and the flap goes over the front. Okay, so I have the basic bones of my box. Basic bones of my box. Now we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the magnets. If you are someone who'd like to try the magnets, I put a link to an Amazon a link from Amazon to how to get magnets similar. Now, the exact magnets I have, they do not have at this point. All right, but they're similar enough. These are, I think, 3mm by 8mm, and the ones that I have are on that link are 3 by 12. So they're just going to be a little bigger circles, but they're still going to work. These are tiny. So you're going to need 2 for the box. You're funny. Oh, Jean, I'm glad you're getting extra use out of them. That makes me feel good. So you're going to have 2 of these. Okay, so the first one we're going to put on is going to go on the front of the box. Now you want to make sure that where you put it on the front of the box has to be somewhere under where the flap is going to come down. Get in the picture here, Barb. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to grab my glue dots because that's the best way to get these on. Wet glue will be a mess, and glue dots are just enough. And I'm going to go ahead and use my pick tool, get that off. Then you're going to go ahead and measure again. I'm going to close it, and you can kind of see where that is coming down. Okay, I'm going to make sure that I put this higher than that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it right there on the front of the box so that when my flap goes down, you can't see it. So you want to make sure it's somewhere on the upper portion of the front of the box so that when your flap comes down, you can't see it. Okay, now we have this on the front, so we can go ahead and grab our large panels of Designer Series paper. Okay, let me check my notes here and I can tell you the size of these. These are 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Okay, and these are going to go on the front of the box. Notice they're going to cover up that magnet, and one is going to go on the back of the box. So that's why I waited until we got the box put together, because if we didn't, it would be hard to figure out where the magnet should go when the box is still flat. So that's why we had to wait to put on our DSP this time. Okay, so I'm just gluing down the DSP on the front and the little magnets right under there. And now I'm going to put the piece on the back. Okay, and that's going to go right here. Since it's a square, really doesn't matter. This is not a directional piece of Designer Series paper. And I love it with that, with the So Saffron box. You could also do one with the Highland Heather. So many choices. All right, now here comes the fun part. All right, I'm going to grab my second magnet. I'm going to close down the front flap, and then I'm just going to let my magnet, find its way to the other magnet. And there it is. It sticks right to it, so I know exactly where I need to put the second magnet that's going to be on the flap. Okay, so I'm going to take it off the box. I'm going to put a glue dot on the back, and then I'm going to close it again and let it find its spot. Okay, so now it's stuck down there beautifully. Okay, this piece is going to go on our flap, and this is cut at 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And I'm going to grab my trio punch one more time, cut the bottom corners, and then I'm going to adhere that to the front of my box. So that is how the box is put together. Give me some hearts if you think it's pretty easy, something you think you'd like to try. I think you all could do them. These would be perfect for Mother's Day. You could fill them with some candy. Oh, all those moms in your life will love you for it. So there's the box. Isn't that just so cute? I love it. All right, let's go ahead and grab our stamps to make our cute little embellishment on the front. Okay, take a look at it here. I stamped a little bit of the flowers here on the left-hand top. And then I did a sentiment there, feel better, friend, in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm going to stick with that same design. So here I'm going to grab my 2-inch circle. Yes, yep. Me too, I love the paper. I still have plenty of it. Okay, and I'm going to take one of the larger, let me put these away. I've got too many out at once. I'm going to actually take one of the larger stamps. Let me show you what it looks like on the stamp set. It's actually this one here, I believe. Oh, no, it's not. It's this one here. Okay, this is the flower image I chose. Now, obviously, it's a lot bigger than the circle, but I'm just going to be putting it on along the edge at the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stamp it down like that. There we go. Okay, so there is the top there. And now, since I have the black out, I'm going to go ahead and put my sentiment on. Okay, and that is Feel Better, Friend. And I'm just going to stamp that at the bottom on the right. There we go. So we have all the black finished. So what's really, really nice with this set is there are stamps that you can ink up and then stamp over the flower images, and it looks like it's painted watercolor. So I'm going to take, this is, I believe, yep, this is the flower that goes with this. So I'm going to take some of the Highland Heather, trying to decide, I think I'm going to go full on here, and I'm just going to go ahead and just go right over where I stamped with the Memento Black, just to color in the flower there. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Daffodil Delight and my stamp to fill in that cute little flower along the bottom. Just like that. There we go. Isn't that cute? All right, and then for the last part, there isn't really a stamp for the section right here that is like the base of the flower and the leaf. So what I did is I took my Just Jade and I took one of the little stamps that is just a leaf, and I'm just going to fill it in a little bit there. I'm going to stamp off first, and then I'm going to fill in where the leaf and the top of the flower are. Doesn't fill it in exactly right, but it works for me. All right, so there we have it. There is our cute little embellishment for the front of our box. Let me put away my ink stamps, all done. And now let's finish this up. Okay, I'm bringing in a coordinating scallop circle for the 2-inch circle, and I'm going to go ahead and use my glue. Come on, glue. There we go. And just layer those together. Okay, let's bring in the box. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get 3 dimensionals and put them on just the top portion of the circle, because the circle is only connected to the flap. Okay, so if we have those down too low on the embellishment, it won't be able to open. So we want to make sure that when you put this on, that you only stick them to the top of the circle. And a better way, which I just came to mind, is to go ahead and put them right on your box. Then you know they're going to be at absolutely the right spot. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but every day I learn something new. All right, now I'm going to take my cute little embellishment and I'm just going to put it right over those dimensionals. Look at that, so cute. And it works. We have our magnetic closure working perfectly. All right, 2 more things to add. I have a cute little baker's twine bow here that I'm going to adhere with my glue dots right along the top, and then we're going to top it off with a few rhinestones. All right, so got my pick tool and my bow. I'm going to put that right up here on the top right-hand corner. Come on down here so you can see. It will definitely hold a scarf, Jean. It is really big. You'll be so surprised. All right, next, we're going to go ahead and finally bring in the rhinestones. Going to use that pick tool again, and we're going to add a few rhinestones to the front of the box. Fumble. There we go. There's one down there. And remember, we like to add embellishments in odd numbers. So I'm going to be doing 3 little rhinestones right on the front here. 2. And then I'll put one up here in the top left corner. 3. Okay, so there you have it. There is your box. You can see that cute little rhinestones on there. Now I don't know if you were here at the beginning, Jean, but I opened this up. I have Lindor truffles in here, and there's 5 of them in here. And I think it could fit like more than 5 more. This is really, really a large box. And especially since it's going to be a soft thing like a scarf that doesn't get smushed, you're going to easily be able to fit that in there. But that would be a great choice for this box. But yep, so there you have it. There is your large triangle box. I hope you enjoy that. And you can go ahead and download that. If you like to have a paper copy of the instructions, you can go ahead and do that. I will be posting that as soon as I finish here this evening. So thanks so much for joining me. It's getting so close to our new catalog launch. Make sure that you are signed up for the bingo, and I will be contacting you soon to get your numbers. That is next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday. And I will be having the online bingo at 6:30. So I think it's 6:30, maybe 7. So make sure you are signed up for bingo and get to win some great prizes and see some new projects made with the new products out of the 22-23 annual catalog. So take care and have a wonderful week. And don't forget to keep on stamping. Bye-bye, folks.